Hey, friendos, welcome back to the Four Lights Podcast. This is your host, Steve here, and of course, my co-host. I'm joined, as always, by Big Jeff. How you doing?
Good, how you doing?
I'm great. We're in a brand new set.
It's a new set. This is new backdrop. Put this together in the old garage over here.
The Four Lights South Studio in your garage.
Mm-hmm. We assembled some Star Trek art. There's a great poster with the blueprints. Show me the blueprints.
Yep.
Enterprise and some other things.
There's a lot we're not including in the frame, but there's like Picard with a pug. You can kind of see that there.
Oh, you can kind of see the pug, I think.
There's like there's like a plate up here.
I got a collector's plate. I got an ad for Star Trek action figures.
It's all great stuff, man. You did a really good job here. I'm jealous. Fun. I want to do the same thing in the Four Lights North studio. I want to build a separate a dedicated one. So every 2 months you can come up, and then every 2 months I can come down.
Yeah, but we got the space backdrop that's up there. That's a fun one.
Yeah, no, the space backdrop, but I want to put that up at a permanent thing, and then start adorning the space, floating around in space. There'll be pictures.
Oh, how about just disembodied character heads just floating in space? That's always fun. Just Worf's head in space.
That's grim.
Yeah, it is.
That day was a good day to die.
There's a theoretical episode. I'm just tossing this out there.
Okay, go ahead. Fanfic.
Chief O'Brien goes nuts and just starts transporting people's heads into space.
Oh God!
There's a bunch of bleeding dead bodies.
Do you think he has that control? Do you think do you think he can do that? Where you go, all right, beam me to the surface, and then he's like, yeah, how about beam you to F you? And then he on the transporter telepath thing and the little computer display, he can specify which body parts he wants to keep.
Isn't there sometimes when people are on the transporter pad to transport, isn't there times when somebody reaches off or something, or somebody's partially in the transporter field and not, and they get only partially transported? Hasn't that happened before?
I don't know. They play really fast and loose. That can be an entire episode. The concept of transport, not just the concept of transporting and whether or not they're dying and remaking a new person, but so sometimes they'll take the comm badge and stick it on somebody, and they're okay, beam my comm badge out. Or sometimes they'll just be okay, you come here. All right, 3 to beam out. And they're all close together. Which one of them do I beam?
Yeah.
You just have to assume the guy that's moving towards Picard is the person they're beaming out. They did that in Justice when they beamed up one of the girl, the perm lady.
Yeah.
He was the first time, the second time he did it, he slapped his communicator badge on her and was get her out of here before that ship gets us.
Yes.
But before that, he was here, come with us. And she just moved 5 feet closer to Picard. And then the transporter guy was okay, I guess this person, because they just moved towards Picard.
It's just another life sign that they have readings on.
Yeah.
So they know where Picard is. They know what his life signs are.
Yeah.
They know what his comm badge signature, his digital signature for his comm badge is. And they can recognize adjacent life signals.
Yeah, somebody moves closer to him, they just assume that's the person.
Yeah.
What if somebody just walks and they weren't supposed to, and then they would get beamed up? How many mistakes happen that way? I don't know. It's all weird. Star Trek is weird. Anyways, this is a Star Trek podcast, though. I'm excited. This one's going up a little bit late. I think right after we film this, I'm going to try to endeavor to get it up. Well, no, we're going to film some more stuff before I do that. So anyways, in this episode, we're talking about Justice. It's episode... what's funny is that when I was going through this thing, so thank you very much. You bought me one of these.
I did. Great book.
It's fantastic. It really is good. And I really love sort of the story behind this episode. Because originally this episode, Justice, was supposed to be a sort of a story about terrorism. And let's see here.
Huh. And
then Roddenberry went in afterwards. So, yeah, the guy who wrote it, John D.F. Black, used his pseudonym, Ralph Wills, on the script. Because it really didn't resemble his original story, which was really grim. So it says here in this book, the first treatment featured the colony of Laroff, where random punishment zones designed to fight anarchy are now enforced for any offense, and it turns out against only those not deemed immune from the law. It was supposed to be a story about terrorism. And then Roddenberry, and one of the members of the Enterprise goes down and gets and actually does get killed by one of the enforcers. shot dead by an overzealous local cop, who in turn is killed on the spot by his dutifully law-abiding partner. So, like, people are dying all over the place. And then later, it says here, later major rewrites by Worley Thorne and Roddenberry himself added the Edo Lord and the culture's preoccupation with sex. So it was supposed to be like a normal society. Roddenberry just came in and was like, what if these people like to fuck a lot?
And they had a weird god thing.
yeah, and he added which is a major plot point.
Yeah.
So this guy was trying to, I think, sort of meld the ideas of, capital punishment and terrorism.
I gotta say, that sounds a lot more interesting than this episode ended up being.
Right? No, I know, totally. Let's see here. I'm trying to see. Yeah. In Black's first draft, Picard refuses to back the first of the timid rebels. So there was like rebels who wanted a change, but he finds a loophole just as the rebels' army wins out and reestablishes order, which, yeah, like you said, sounds really interesting. The second draft saw the rebel leader put on trial and executed for treason, with Picard musing that the people have the right to decide their own justice without interference, which is deep stuff. That's heavy stuff.
That's pretty dark.
And Roddenberry came in and said, hey, how about this? How about we just have Picard sort of judge these people and say that, oh, yeah, we're great because we got rid of capital punishment ages ago. We don't execute people anymore because we're so enlightened. And granted, I'm not personally like a fan of the death penalty.
Sure.
But I can understand, the various viewpoints with regards to it.
Yeah.
And so I'm not saying that, but it's obvious that was, regardless of how I feel about it, it's obvious that was the viewpoint that Roddenberry is basically just trying to shove down everybody's throat. Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, one day we're going to be enlightened, and we're not going to go that route because we're so much better than everybody else. And even in the script, even in the way that it was filmed, one of the dudes, like one of the sex guys, got like super passive aggressive with it and said, well, apparently we're not as enlightened as you Earth people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so it just turned into this really, like, there was no subtlety there.
No.
It was just this really heavy-handed, weird stuff. So, like, I think the episode is, it doesn't work. They bring up all these different sort of concepts that they have zero idea what really to do with.
Yeah.
I mean, and the funny thing is Star Trek is, from the original series on through Next Generation, which handles some really, really great sort of, philosophical issues and societal things. This episode completely falls flat.
Yep.
In every way except for unintentional comedy. Mm-hmm. Because there's a lot of that.
There's a lot of really good unintentional comedy. Yeah.
It's great for that. So anyways, the episode kicks off with the Enterprise coming across a fairly random M-class planet filled with what are essentially white people. I mean, they're humans, but they're all super white.
Very late 80s sexy white people.
Right, yeah. Picard it opens up on the bridge. Picard had sent Riker down to check it out. And Crusher comes in. And it's weird how they wrote Crusher. And I'm not surprised at all that they sort of got rid of the Crusher character after this first season.
Yeah.
Because she is written as the naggiest human being alive.
She's pretty annoying.
She comes in all sheepish, and Troy even clowns her a little bit and says, "Oh, she's using her telepathy stuff or her empathic stuff," and she says, "Oh, Crusher has something very, very important to tell you, Picard." Like even Troy's clowning her.
Total side eye, yeah.
Exactly. Crusher is saying, Picard, we really need shore leave. The crew is exhausted.
I mean, she's probably not wrong.
Right, yeah. So why wouldn't she submit this in like email form or something? She has to come and beg Picard, essentially. Like she is acting and he is acting like she is a nuisance for acting like they need shore leave.
Yeah.
And so for some reason Wes is on the bridge too. I don't know why that is. Anyways, Riker and some of the rest of the bridge crew who are on the away mission to just check out the planet, they come in. Riker looks happy, so happy. I'm pretty sure he orgasmed multiple times down on the planet.
Instantly. That's his jam right there. Right. There's a bunch of scantily clad people running around. That's where he wants to be all the time.
Exactly. Let's see here. Geordi mentions. So Picard's like, what's going on with this planet? And somebody says they make love
at the drop of a hat.
And then who says any hat? Somebody said, Tasha Yar, who also seems fairly intrigued by the place.
Yeah.
Because she just wants love wherever she can find it. She's still traumatized by rape gangs.
Sure.
So she's like, on this planet, everything's consensual.
Yeah.
Whereas on my planet, it was all, rape. No good. So anyways, meanwhile, they notice that there's some sort of glitch in their ship sensors. And it's making the ship think that there's something in the vicinity, so they're immediately sort of smashing two plots together in
very clumsily
in the same scene. Let's see here. I like this part. So they come in and they're obviously talking about how much they like to bang down on the planet. Picard, having heard this and having zero clue, I mean, this just goes to show how inept Picard is with kids. He's like, you know what? Sounds like a great place for me to send Wesley down to.
Oh yeah, everybody's like fucking left and right on this planet. Let's take a 13-year-old boy.
Right,
He's gonna enjoy that. It's like, wait a second, that's probably not appropriate.
I'm kind of wondering if that was because, I would love to think, and again, this is where my fanfic mind goes, that this is simply Picard just super fucking with Wes. Hey, how funny would it be to send this kid who probably has a boner every 2 minutes, because of his hormones, let's send him down to Fuck Planet and see how he handles it. And it's under the auspice of, there's probably some young people down there that you can, talk to and get a read on their culture. But and it just produces some super awkward moments with
I'm just
Wes.
mad now that after you said that, I'm mad now that the title of this episode was Justice instead of Fuck Planet. I really wish it was called Fuck Planet.
It's so funny though, because so there was the episode I think it was Code of Honor, where they had all the African American actors down there for no reason. There was this sort of a savage kind of tribal race. And Roddenberry evidently was super, because they fired the director off that, and I assume Roddenberry has the last say on these things. And then when it comes time to how do you want these people? Was Gene just super horny during this period or something? Was he man, this show's going really well. Ratings are good. Let's get some of these actors in here that just have no clothes. Let's hire a bunch of really pretty people. Well, actually, it's pretty women, because the women are all really good looking. But then some of the guys he had, one of the dudes he hired for the actor, he had gray teeth. I noticed that.
Oh, really?
Well, I was watching on my big screen. And I was like, man, that dude's teeth really needs a cleaning. Anyways,
here's my question about this planet, though.
Yeah, sure.
They find this planet. It's right next to a well-surveyed planet that has a whole party of colonists on it.
Yeah.
But this planet that has a life form that's almost identical to humans, is a Class M planet, nobody knew anything about.
Yeah.
It's adjacent to a well-known planet with colonists on it, but apparently this planet with Ito on it that are beautiful human-like people, Starfleet has no knowledge of.
Yeah,
that's weird.
It sort of makes you think. Yeah. Oh yeah, that's right. Because that's right. Because that's why they wanted the shore leave, because they just put a human colony, a Starfleet colony on a planet nearby.
They've probably been surveying for years, if not decades, to figure out if it's going to support a colony. So they just dropped all these colonists off.
Yeah.
And then they're like, I don't even think they dropped into warp. They're just going around, they're just tooling around on impulse. Oh, that was exhausting. Also, how exhausting is it to just drop off some colonists?
Well, no. See, that's the funny thing, is that it's probably very exhausting, because they have to make buildings and stuff.
That's true.
I would think that is an exhaustive task.
Yeah.
And so no, but to your point, not to get to the very end of the episode, but if we can touch on that for a second. Once they go through this stuff with the Ito people and the Ito Lord and stuff, then they're like, we're gonna take back that colony now. We have to get rid of all those. We'll have to bring all those people back up. So you're right. They literally had to have scouted this planet, I would think, for at least years.
Yeah.
Maybe decades, but maybe with technology, it was just a matter of years, or maybe an exhaustive 6 months. And then another exhaustive couple months to bring all the colony people up with all the equipment they need. I'm assuming they've got replicators up the ass, that maybe they have large scale replicators that are making their headquarters and their homes and stuff like that. I don't know. But it seems like a massive task to put down a colony of probably a couple hundred people. I would assume it's a colony.
Yeah.
When I think colony, I think a couple hundred people.
Sure.
Maybe dozens and dozens, maybe 100 people.
Yeah.
At the least.
At least.
It's a colony.
At least.
And not once did they say, what's that over there? That's a planet. And it looks very Earth-like. What's going on over there? Yeah, that's weird.
Yeah, it doesn't
because
make
now they have
sense.
to undo it all. So that's weird. Anyways, so yeah, and I like the last line of the intro too, is Picard saying, "Let's hope it's not too good to be true." Which, are you serious? Do you have to telegraph
It's
this
the
anymore?
laziest foreshadowing ever. Come on, guys.
Because guess what? It turns out to be like, did Roddenberry go to an orgy? Is this a metaphor for an orgy that he went to that he thought was going to be awesome, but wasn't?
Yeah.
But was like terrible.
Interesting.
Because like
Like he went to a weird Hollywood orgy that was full of coke and somebody
Yeah.
died. And he was like,
Right.
I gotta put that in this episode.
Right, exactly. Exactly. Or like the Edo Lord represents like, you know, the freaking drug dealer whose house this orgy was at, and he goes crazy. Maybe he actually murders somebody. Too good to be true. Anyways, we're on Rubicon 3, home of the Edo, as we kick off the episode. It's a bunch of white people wearing hilariously skimpy outfits. Riker is huge into it. He says, they certainly are fit. And then Troy gives him side eye for being like obviously fully engorged, if not physically, then mentally for sure. Because Riker is not being subtle.
I mean, Riker's kind of gross.
Yeah. Some chick with a perm rolls up to Riker and gives him like, I mean, she's super cute for like, 1980s for sure.
Late 80s.
Yeah. Anyways, he gets well, the funny thing is, this is filmed in the late 80s, but she looked more like she belonged in 1983.
Mm-hmm.
There's a big difference in style between like 83 and 87. I feel like the perm was already out by then.
Yeah.
So anyways, everybody gets hugs. This dude rolls up on Troy and he like gives her a big old hug, which these days would be probably sexual harassment. His teeth I have here are super stained. I don't know why. I mean, he just drinks a
You're
lot
paying
of coffee.
attention to teeth on this episode, huh?
Well, this was the dude because it was, I mean, my teeth aren't, they're not great. I want to get them. I want to get some whitening done to them.
Oh, I talked to my dentist about that.
Yeah, is it bad?
No, it's not bad.
Oh, okay.
He said, I mean, you just don't do anything that's like too much bleach.
Maybe I'm
That'll
just
screw you.
Yeah,
He
yeah,
said,
yeah.
If you get something that's like the whitening strips,
Yeah, sure.
as
I
long
know.
as it's ADA approved.
I have like
Those are good. They just take a lot of time, and then they can do chemical stuff in the dentist's office. It takes a lot less time.
Yeah.
But you can have some painful side effects. You can have some sensitivity for a couple of days.
I was honestly just gonna go down to Walmart and get some like white spray paint.
Sure,
Like
that'll work.
Maybe like
Just get some white out. It's fine.
Oh man, my parents had tickets to that. There was a monkey show, monkeys in Sacramento.
They still playing?
Yeah. The weird thing is Mike Nesmith, who is he's now he controls the Whiteout Empire.
Yep.
So he's like super rich. He still performs.
Well, what else is he gonna do?
But-
He's just a rich white guy.
But
He's gonna have fun, right?
yeah, he likes the adulation probably. But then another one of the other dudes doesn't. I think it's
Mickey Dolenz.
no, he's dead now.
Oh, he's
No, Mickey's
I
alive.
know Davy Jones. Is
Davy
dead.
Jones
Yeah.
is dead.
So
But
it's
then
just Mickey Dolenz and
Peter Tork.
Peter Tork, I think.
Peter Tork decided not to go. So
Yeah.
it's just two guys.
Well, they have other band members, I'm sure.
Well, yeah, but the only ones who are monkeys are those two guys.
The original Monkeys.
So let's see here.
I did make a note, by the way.
Yeah.
I just loved Michael Dorn's delivery on this. I love when Dorn does like really subtle things as Worf. when they're talking to the Edo people, Worf just says, "Nice planet."
Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah. Even though they're all like sexually so beneath him and what he requires.
Yeah.
Like I think they talk about that later on. He's like, I would hurt all the women that I have sex with if they're not Klingon. Super pent up. Anyways, that dude hugs Yar, who, is really into the hug. Like, she just wants love, man. She just wants somebody who's nice to her, somebody who's decent.
Those moments where they explore that aspect of Yar's character in the first season make me wish that she had stuck around. Like, I understand after the first season where I'm like, all right, I can see where they weren't really doing enough with her character where she felt confident that they were going to go on and do something satisfying, or she was sort of iffy about the show in general. Like, I get that, but there's moments like of Denise Crosby's performance in the first season and moments that the writers plotted out for her character. I was like, oh, that would have been really cool
No,
to see her go on. And I think that they sort of started exploring the ground that they wanted to cover when they brought in Ensign Rowe a little bit. Like,
yeah. I could see that for sure. No, it is. It's funny because her character is actually a lot more sort of, I don't know, it's got a lot more depth to it than, for example, like Counselor Troy, who I thought that the episode we're going to do sort of the a couple down the line when she's supposed to get married. I thought that was actually a decent Troy episode. Haven, yeah. But I thought that Yar is actually a lot more sort of fully formed than at least Troy. Maybe Worf gets his complexity later on due to like events that happen to him.
Yeah.
But I think she there's some depth there that you're right. I believe they really should have explored a bit more. Or obviously, like if she had stuck around,
they would have run into it, I'm sure.
Let's see here. So after everybody sort of gets hugs and love and stuff like that, next up is Wes, who immediately because she's like, the girl's like, I don't know how we treat like, young people. She's all confused about like, well, obviously you don't, get sexual with him. So she just like gives him a hug, but he's obviously like super, he doesn't know what to do.
He's
with
an
himself.
awkward teenager.
Yeah, exactly. This next part was great because Wes is standing right there when Riker's like, yeah, let's go talk to your leaders. But the perm lady's like, no, let's all play. And they're like, play? What do you mean? She's like, love, which I'm pretty sure is just their euphemism for sex. So like, she was like, let's just all do it here. Let's just all bang here.
Yeah.
Which like in the abstract sounds great.
Yeah.
But
Starfleet officers are on duty at the time.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, though, like...
Wouldn't this be one situation where, like, you'd be super into the Prime Directive?
Yeah. I mean, why are they even on the planet if that's the case?
Because the Prime Directive is essentially... And Riker even like, uses this phrase, when in Rome.
Yeah.
So it's like...
The Prime Directive is essentially like, if you're in a Rome that hasn't been in before by members of Starfleet, don't do shit,
Yeah.
Like you shouldn't be there, actually, You're messing with a society that is like not up to our level and like
right.
It's inappropriate.
Yeah. Oh,
but
man.
I mean, within character, like when she was like, let's play, they should have just cut to a shot of Riker with no pants on just immediately. And Worf's like, where did your pants go? And he's like, what pants?
What pants?
I beamed out without pants. I didn't have pants when I came down. I'm ready to go.
They just got to a shot of just... It's like 3 minutes later. He's already done.
He's so sweaty.
Again, Roddenberry's just like, yeah. This is in syndication. We cannot. This is going to play at like 3 p.m. in some markets.
Yeah.
Whatever. Show his asshole.
I keep reading about the start of the show in various books I've been getting and other books that I have and reread and reading about Roddenberry's general excitement about not having to deal with network censors.
Oh, yeah,
because they ultimately decided to go with syndication as opposed to with a network.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, he was really stoked about that. He was like, oh, I had so many censor battles with NBC in the 60s. I just want to do whatever I want to now. And I think this episode, Justice, actually probably one of those things where it's like, let's talk about people having sex all the time. You couldn't do that in the 60s. Come on.
I wonder how frustrated he was when he was like, let's have Riker looking at pornography in Haven. And then the people are like, well, he can't actually look at pornography. All right, what about just like busty women? Well, we can do like women, but they have to be doing something that isn't sexual, like playing an instrument. Oh, for fuck's sake.
And he's like, playing a skin flute? Yeah. Roddenberry's like that in an office.
like this?
Yeah. It's not dirty. He's just clapping. That's all.
It's just clapping.
It's like,
And this isn't even like, I mean, I've had sex plenty of times, but I don't recall this actually being a sound that was ever made.
It's not. It's every time I've ever had sex, it's just crying. That's all I do. It's just like 20 seconds of breathing and then me crying for 3 or 4 hours.
Oh, man. Anyways, then the perm lady notices Wes, who obviously can't participate in the orgy she's suggesting they're having. And she just says, hey, there might be some young people over at the council chambers. Let's all go there. Then they take like a jog there. and which is weird. But then they meet the young people. These young people don't look that young. They still look like they're in their mid-30s. They really could be replaced with any of the people who are about to have an orgy.
Yeah, that's one of those things where I think, I mean,
it's like 90210.
Yeah, this is a few years removed from 90210, and in 90210 they cast a bunch of like 28 to 35 years old. So,
but so anyways, they take Wes away so that the others can finally get to having sex. Do you remember the term? This term stood out to me. Club Med. Do you remember that being discussed in the 80s? Club Med.
Yeah, Club Med. I think is still a thing now. Well.
I
they have
never
like Club Med, now
was.
they have like Sandals, I think is a thing, where these are essentially like adult resorts where there's no kids or teens.
Oh, okay.
And there's other clubs that are strictly like gross swinger sex clubs.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I don't mean to say gross. Like if you're a swinger, that's cool.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to yuck anybody's yum. Like there's resorts that are specifically these
I'm sure
days,
some of them are gross. We can lay judgment on some people if they're actually gross.
Yeah. I mean, I use the term
some
gross.
nice
like,
ones,
I don't
too.
even want to go on a cruise ship. That concept is gross to me. But that's just my thing. There's resorts nowadays that are like specifically geared towards adults going there and having sex with them.
Oh yeah.
And I think that was sort of implied with a place like Club Med, where it's just like, this is like, it's an adult resort. Everybody's drinking and having a good time, and there's no kids and
they could accidentally have sex on each other.
And you're gonna meet somebody and you're gonna hook up.
Yeah.
You know? So there's places like that, and again, there's cruise ships like that too. There's like adult cruises.
Because I never even knew what a Club Med was, but I sort of understood the general concept of people from the 1980s gathering to do probably sexual things, or at least,
a couple
frolic,
mountains, a couple mountains of blow, because that's what they were doing.
So anyways, this is great though. Then they get to the council chamber. So Wes and his friends, they go away to play ball. Then we're in sort of like an orgy chamber, and it's like a really, really laid back orgy. But there is definitely, I don't know if it's in this part or like a different one, where there's a couple of extras on like making out on one of the couches there. And like the girl extra is on top of the guy extra, and she's like full on grinding him. And I'm like, oh, that poor bastard. As soon as they yell cut and she starts to get up, he's going to be like, oh, excuse me.
Because they do have clothes on, but it's barely like
it's like bed sheet level.
Yeah, they're just like really just wrapped in an ace bandage. It's like
exactly, yeah. It's super loose. Like I did notice, just because it stood out, that when they were jogging, the lady with the perm was not bouncing at all. Mm-hmm. Like her bosoms were very still, and so they had to
have some sort of support.
Some sort of support there underneath, the thing. But like when you just have a couple extras over there, and like she's just literally like, you see where her thigh is grinding, there's got to be some action going on there.
Yeah.
So, anyways, it was pretty interesting. So we're back on the Enterprise, where they're determining there's actually something out there in space. They're not just tripping. It's not just the sensor glitch. And they hail whatever it is, and then like a ship appears, and it looks kind of like three buildings all connected at the top by kind of like a ball or like a saucer type thing.
Yeah, and it's sort of phased out of existence. It's sort of like semi-opaque in space.
And I think they even say that it's sort of it is hovering. Oops, it is sort of hovering between dimensions, whatever that may mean.
Yeah.
So, anyways, they investigate.
Yeah, they say it's half there.
Yeah, super panicky backup security guy says that. He's like, Captain, it's half there and it's half not there. And he's like, who are you exactly?
Yeah. And Geordi goes to look at it through the window with his visor. I don't know why that adds a level of perception for him. Like, looking at it at the view screen through his visor is different from looking at it through the window.
I would assume, I actually kind of thought that was cool because, it was like, you're getting just, the visual readout from what the computer is telling you their sensors are seeing with the view screen. Whereas if he just goes and sees it like just with like a pane of glass between him and space and the ship, then he can like get an accurate, like they could see the nuts and bolts or whatever through his visor. So I thought that was kind of cool. It was kind of different.
Yeah.
It was like, hey, Geordi, make use of that thing you have on your head. So he did that. He said it was interesting. He said, they got a transmission from the ship. It said, "Stand by, Enterprise." And then like a little glowy thing comes pooping out of that ship.
They send like a weird bubble probe.
Yeah. Yeah.
It looks like the bubble from The Prisoner.
Yeah. Or like Q later on when he was like a bubble with 3 snakes coming out of him.
Oh, yeah.
That was kind of cool. Data mentions that the away team also, meanwhile, have been cut off from communications. They cannot reach the away team. Mm-hmm. The bubble sort of breaches. It comes up. It sort of phases through into the bridge. It starts talking really, really loud. Starts shaking everything. It says, "State the purpose." Picard once again has to explain the nature of human beings and why they're doing what they're doing. He has to do that like every other episode in the first season. He always has to be like, "No, we're explorers. This is what humanity is." Anyways, the bubble calls the Edo his children. They warn the Enterprise not to interfere. The bubble then sort of clings to Data's head, who takes a back bump onto the floor, and starts sort of interfacing, we're assuming, with his head. Back on the surface, Wes is hanging out with his new friends. One guy tries to impress everybody else by walking on his hands. Wes does a couple of like somersaults,
like weird flips,
handstands or some shit. Then this girl comes over to Wes and says, "I want to do something with you." Wes immediately thinks that she wants like a home run. She wants like bukkake or something. But she's like, "No, I mean play ball." And he's like, "Fuck. All right, fine." He's like, "Do you have a bat?" He immediately goes, like, this ball is obvious. Like, they have one ball. And it's obviously much bigger than even a softball. Mm-hmm. And he's like, "Do you have a bat so we can play some baseball?" And he's trying to explain what a bat is. Wes is the worst. He doesn't know how to do people, man.
There's like a bunch of other ball games that you can play without a bat.
Just catch. Like, literally just catch. Ball tag. Ball tag's fun. Mm-hmm. Just run around and throw a ball at people.
Sure.
You know? I mean, that's just 2 off the top of my head.
Start playing a little bit of soccer or something.
Yeah, you can play soccer with a ball that size. Yeah, for sure. Meanwhile, Riker, so they cut back to the orgy palace. Riker's roaming around. That's when I noticed the 2 extras are full on dry humping. Mm-hmm. Riker and Worf talk about Worf's sex life. He says he can't bang because women are too fragile.
Can't have sex with non-Klingon women.
Yeah, he'll hurt them. I'm glad he softened his stance on that down the line. Mm-hmm. He did a lot of growing over the 7 years.
Yeah, probably great character.
More than anybody.
But also, I mean, he got the opportunity to grow into DS9.
Even further on DS9, that's right, yeah. So at that point, Riker realizes the communication badges aren't working. Troy immediately says, "It's none of these people. They're all focused on having sex and having good times. They're all good. I don't sense any deception here." Yar is meanwhile talking to the dude with the gray teeth about their laws. Then they start talking about the punishment zone, which is apparently a random location on various intervals of time.
So the random location changes places like every day.
And if you commit a crime inside of it, it's death. So it's kind of like Singapore. Like, it's like super, like,
very
really
strict.
harsh
Crazy
laws.
strict.
Yeah. But it's just for like a random spot. So like, I mean, I guess theoretically it could be like the purge outside
it's kind of like
the
a purge,
zone.
but you have like a purge area.
It's like a purge area.
But so I can't remember if
like
does everybody on the planet understand where the zone is? Like they sort of do because then like.
Well, they knew when Wes entered the punishment zone, so I would assume so.
So, but does that mean that they could they can commit a crime outside that zone and they don't have to worry about it?
Well, that's what I was talking about.
Yeah.
Because like it's sort of like theoretically it could be the purge outside the punishment zone if everybody knows what the punishment zone is. Because I get that it's random every day, but it's like, well, I'm not in it right now, so I'm going to kill people.
Yeah, for sure.
Totally fine.
Yeah.
So, and the other thing that I didn't get, so what happens is they end up playing ball. Like, let's see here. Yeah, so Wes so they find out about these punishment zones. Yar and Worf immediately are like, crap, where's Wes? Because he's probably in a punishment zone. And they are correct. Wes and his friends are throwing the ball around. Wes, like, starts, like, they go long because apparently they've decided to play some version of football, American football. Wes, like, starts tearing across this, like, lovely grass. And he dives to try to catch this ball, which he doesn't do. But when he dives, he goes right into a punishment zone, which is just like a nice little garden, apparently.
It's like a little, like a low greenhouse kind of thing. Like
yeah.
They're growing some plants and they got some like glass or some plastic over it.
Mm-hmm. It's like a mesh.
Yeah, like a mesh. Yeah.
What I didn't get was like there was like some white, like a white bordering pipe, like a thick pipe around the flowers. Did that white pipe indicate the punishment zone?
I don't know, probably.
I didn't get how they knew other than that white border. And do they just move that to a random spot every day? Or they're just like, okay, let's just move this 50 yards over there. That's punishment zone. Wouldn't people be like, all right, well, I can still just kill people right now?
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I didn't really get what the punishment zone did. Like, I mean, my thing about this entire episode is that I understood what they were going for, but the execution was so bad.
Yeah.
It was so lazy. Nobody stopped to ask any questions.
Yeah.
So anyways, he lands in the punishment zone. A couple of mediators who, both of them just came off as super dull, like dullards. One looked like Michael Rappaport.
Mm-hmm.
But they're like, you are in the punishment zone. Now it is time for you to die.
This is like when Riker and Yar show up too.
Yeah,
They
that's
show
right.
up,
Yeah.
And Riker immediately like juts his chin out and puffs his chest up to the mediators, like
That's right.
just immediately.
Yeah.
Because he hasn't boned yet, so he's just full of it. He's just like, I got some energy to. Let's get to a fight. I'll whip both your asses. He's just so horny for anything.
He is. He is. He's like, I don't care if it's sex or violence.
Yeah.
But that's my jam, man. Anyways, Riker does try to talk his way out of it. The dude's like, you admit that you did this freely? And then Wes has this really cheesy line where he says, I'm with Starfleet. We don't lie. And anyways.
Yeah, that was terrible.
Yeah, it was
just annoying.
Really, it was annoying. So the one of the mediator busts out a portable lethal injection kit. He just has a syringe ready to go, ready to jam this in whatever idiots in the freaking 10-foot by 10-foot punishment zone for the day. Like, how many punishment zones are on the planet?
Uh-huh.
You know what I mean? Like, how many are like? Why are these people not running ramp like just crazy? If you know you're not in the punishment zone.
Also, wouldn't those mediators just be just straight up sociopaths
Right.
who just grab people off the street and like shove them into flower beds and then just jack them full of poison? And they're like, oh, this guy tripped into a flower bed. I had to kill him. And they're like, okay, cool. Good job, Frank. See you at the bar later.
Good job. Are we assuming all the punishment zones are in
Just
gardens?
all flower beds.
Anyways, where am I? Yeah, I have it again. I have it here. They just come off as so like slow in their head. They're
Yeah.
like, wait, I don't get it. Why aren't you dying right now? why aren't you letting me kill this person right now?
How much of that do you think might be influenced by Roddenberry's old real life experience as an LAPD officer?
Oh, that could be. Yeah. Yeah, that could be. That totally
Yeah.
could be. He's like, listen, no. That might have been some acting
He's like,
direction
I was
there.
a cop for years.
Yeah.
Most cops are idiots.
Yeah. Listen, do not inquire, stick to the letter of the law,
Yeah.
and do not listen to anybody else. That's how they do it. That actually could very well be the case. I feel like there's a lot of Gene Roddenberry's like experiences in this one episode.
Seems like it.
Let's see. So anyways, back on the bridge, Crusher is inspecting that bubble on Data's head. They reestablish contact with the bridge crew, or the away team rather. Picard decides to beam down because, now I got to deal with this. Troy vouches for all the people there. They say, no, that this isn't on them. They convene sort of a powwow with Picard. The perm lady and the gray teeth guy make their case, saying, you know what, like, this is our law. If we ever dance around it, if we let you get away with this, then all chaos is going to break out. What's it going to do to the planet? They all seem to be walking on eggshells, basically. Like, they all just seem to be at, like, sort of, one change in their society will just completely throw everything off, which is kind of weird. And Picard, and I have it here. I said at this point, it's obviously the episode is just like a super anti-death penalty sort of screed, because Picard's like, we used to have the death penalty, but then we got better and we didn't do that anymore. And the gray tooth dude's like, oh, you must be so advanced. Just take the boy and leave our small backwards planet. He said something like that. Picard then talks about the mystery ship above because he's like, we can't figure it out. The perm lady then says, she's like, you're talking about God. Picard's like, oh.
Yeah, that's our God.
Yeah. He's like, oh, you think that's your God? Well, we were just talking to your God. So, and then they say, yeah, when the God wants to show its power, it does. And then Picard, for some reason, takes the perm lady up to the Enterprise to go check it out with him, maybe to, I don't know, make another observation.
It seems like a wild violation of the Prime Directive.
Oh, big time, yeah.
I mean, they're just sort of all over the map with the Prime Directive. Like earlier, Riker says, in accord with the Prime Directive, I've allowed them to hold Wesley. And I'm like, I don't know how that's in accord with the Prime Directive. That you just give up the son of your chief medical officer.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
How does that make sense? First of all, you probably shouldn't have been down there like that. If you were in accord with the Prime Directive, you shouldn't have been down there.
There's a lot of unanswered questions with regard to the species. So they think this ship that's above them is a god, but they're not even close to being like a warp civilization.
No.
They really don't come off that way. So I don't even know, like, was like official like protocol following first contact made with these people? Did they just expedite the whole process?
Yeah.
They didn't even know about this place?
The way that the way they set up at the beginning of the episode is they didn't even know about the planet.
We stumbled upon this planet.
It doesn't even seem like they've had first. This might be first contact.
You would think
this is entirely inappropriate.
Yeah, they would have to submit some paperwork to Starfleet saying, hey, we found a planet with like people on it. Mm-hmm. They'll probably warp capable within like 300 years or so. What do we do? But no, instead they just send Riker down, and they're all, ooh, maybe they did a probe first, and we're like, these people are half naked. Riker's like,
immediately,
we should go.
I'm the first officer.
My recommendation is we go down there, and you send me down there.
He's got no pants on.
Immediately, he's like got his condom out. He's like, I'm ready to go. Anyways, the perm lady's all impressed by the Enterprise. Crusher obviously is super worried about Wes. She's bugging Picard about it. Now, later on in the episode, Picard lets her know, listen, the bottom line is this. I'm not going to let them do anything to Wes. Mm-hmm. But he waits like hours to reassure her.
Yes.
In the meantime, she is a mess, and he just lets that go.
Yeah.
Like, if he knew from the get, and I'm pretty sure he did, that everything was going to be okay, like, say something. Say something first.
Give your chief medical officer a little bit of reassurance as a human being and a mother. Like, listen, it should be okay. Like, I'm going to make sure it's okay. Like,
on top of that, he's the guy who brought Wesley's dad home dead. Yeah. So, like, give her a little, throw her a bone, man. Mm-hmm. Anyways, she's all worried about Wesley. She bugs Picard about it. He checks her rudely.
Very rudely.
Yeah, they take the perm lady to the observation lounge. She immediately, kneels in reverence towards the ship's god.
She's actually seeing their god. Like,
yeah, that's a fucking mind blower. Like, hey, let's come on up and I'll show you your god.
Yeah.
Wow. Anyways, she confirms that it is in fact what they know of God. She says it's appeared before, apparently, to the people at certain points. The ship speaks out, says, "Return my child." The ship starts to move towards the Enterprise. Picard super freaks out. He doesn't say, all right, get the ship out of here. He doesn't say, hey, put up shields. He grabs his comm badge, cops a feel, and puts it on her, and then says, transporter him, get my comm badge out of here. Beam it the hell away. Yeah. So, I mean, I get they were trying to sort of, create a moment of tension and drama. I just feel like it was a really weird decision to make. Crusher, once again, is really whiny and naggy about Wes. I mean, understandably so. Kind of don't put that on her. I put it on Picard. In sick bay, Data reports on the bubble. He says the ship is a group of beings who find their relationship with the Edo to be a fairly harmless one. They do exist sort of in different dimensions. Let's see here. Data gets all passive aggressive with Picard after he gets checked for going off topic. So Data does that thing they do a lot in the first season where he sort of goes off topic and Picard's like, hey,
stay on topic.
He's like, don't ramble. And then Data says, he just shuts up. And Picard's like, well, dude, I don't do that shit. I do that with Larson sometimes on the podcast. Like if he tries to check me, I'll just shut up. I'll just stop talking and then let him go. It's like the most passive aggressive shit. Anyways, so Crusher loses it on Data being basically kind of annoying, and she just runs away. Not very professional, but still, I get it.
Yeah.
It's like, man, every time around this Picard guy, he ends up killing off one of my family members. Data and Picard are waxing philosophical when we return from commercial. Data it's kind of interesting. This was interesting. Sort of the one actual interesting moment in this. He asked Picard, he poses the philosophical question, do the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the one? Picard shuts him down very quickly and says, I'm not dealing with mathematics. He says, I don't think of lives in mathematical equations or something like that.
Yeah.
Which is interesting because it's such at the heart of like Star Trek 2, like some of the most iconic moments in, with Kirk and Spock in the movies. Picard just sort of bats away.
Yeah.
He doesn't even take a moment. So, which is kind of
That's
interesting.
also like a classic philosophical dilemma, with like the train tracks, and there's like, you're standing at the junction of a train, and there's a train coming, and it's either going to careen, it's out of control, it's either going to mow over like 30 people on one track, or you can divert it to another track where it will kill one person.
Yeah.
So do you save the 30 people, or do you kill one person?
Yeah. Picard doesn't want any piece of that.
No, he just totally shuts it down.
He's like, look, we're in the middle of the thing right now, Data. But I also kind of like that Data brought it up, Yeah. It was one of the little moment. They speculate some more on the aliens. Crusher walks back in. Picard grants her permission to go down with him because he's going to go down there. And then he finally reassures her, listen, I'm not going to let them poke Wes with their portable lethal injection kit.
Yeah.
It's all good. Back on the surface, Riker is just checking people left and right. He says, you need to go get the boy right now. Picard and Crusher come down. The perm lady calls Picard a god because he's up there in command of the ship.
Because he literally introduced her to her god. So
yeah, right.
Just
exactly.
Correlated him with a god.
Right.
Now, which is fair.
Which is fair enough.
When
yeah.
Subwarp technology that shouldn't be being messed with by Starfleet.
Yeah. Let's see here. Wes is brought out. The mediators really freak out on Picard, just begging him to let them kill a kid. Picard goes to beam them up. This bugged the crap out of me because I looked at the timing. There's like literally about 30 seconds left in the episode, right?
Yeah.
So they resolve this with like 2 passionate sentences of dialogue for Picard because the Edo Lord are not letting them beam up because Data earlier had said they're going to expect that we adhere by our own laws or they're going to stand in judgment of us. And evidently the Edo Lord are kind of obviously a bit more powerful than the Enterprise.
Yeah.
So that could mean bad things. So we can assume that manifests itself with the Edo Lord not letting the away team beam out with Wesley. Picard says like maybe 2 things in a very passionate way.
Picard says there can be no justice so long as laws are absolute. Life itself is an exercise in exceptions.
And that alone is enough.
Which is lovely.
Yeah, right.
It's lovely dialogue.
It's a great way to maybe open an entire debate, an entire conversation. Shouldn't be the end all be all. It's essentially he opens up a fortune cookie, like a nice Chinese restaurant fortune cookie.
Yes.
Not one that says you're gonna win the lotto today or your best friend is great. It's it's a really nice little line of wisdom.
No, it's great.
Yeah, but
they don't. Here's the thing: is like you said, they resolved this by, and I wanted to jump in immediately. Like they don't resolve.
They
this.
don't actually resolve it.
Do not resolve this episode. Yeah, they literally just give you a fortune cookie, and then it's like, see you next week, guys.
And for all we exactly, and for all we know, like I really wish they would have just cut back to the transporter, and the transporter guy is just sort of sitting there listening to his Zune or his iPod or something. And he didn't notice at first that Picard said, beam us up. And so Picard thinks that it's the Edo Lord preventing them from doing it. And the guy's like, what? Oh, shit. And he hears Picard say stuff. He's like, man, got out of that one. And gets him out of there. So, yeah, that was it. That was the episode.
Not a great
episode. We're back on the bridge. Hold on a second.
Oh, yeah, they did.
That was Then Picard says, we got to get that human colony back out of there. And then that's it.
That's it. It's absolutely not clear if they do get the colonists out of
right.
There.
They probably did like a warp shot at the end too. I don't remember. But they're probably like, yeah, man. Yeah, not a great episode at all. That resolution was terrible. There's a lot of really bad things about this episode. And like I said, there was a lot of things that they were trying to do with this episode.
There's a lot of really good ideas.
There were some good
There's
ideas.
A couple of great lines of dialogue. Like the sentences that Picard tosses out at the end are very nice.
Yeah.
It's good stuff. That's thoughtful stuff. It's just not really in a very thoughtful episode.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is kind of a weird mishmash where it's like, yeah, I think that the guy who, like you were talking about before, the guy who wrote the episode that Roddenberry came in and sort of reworked to make this, was wrestling with some important and significant stuff.
Yeah, sure, yeah.
And that sounds interesting.
It could be that
but
the
this episode is very superficial and very
Yeah.
and it's just like a weird this is a weird combination of something that's interesting and heady and like a late 80s hair commercial, you know?
Yeah.
Like, this is like Star Trek's version of a Pert commercial or something.
Right. It feels like maybe the original script was just super dark. Because like reading that, even that little synopsis in that book, like the episode just came off as like people like one of the Enterprise crew members died.
Well, yeah, it sounds
then
super.
another
Like
guy
it sounds
died.
like it's a super dark, like almost like a John Carpenter post-apocalyptic
Yeah.
world or something.
Yeah.
Like that's what they were going for.
Yeah.
That's what that guy was going for with that first episode.
And they just snapped it in the other direction, like 180 degrees.
Weird, awkward way.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, it was just like, you know what? At some point, you just have to give them a script to start shooting.
Sure.
And maybe it was just that. It was like, I don't know, like let's just look. How about this? I've been thinking about this planet where everybody bangs. Just toss that in there. I don't know.
Yeah.
So, anyways, let us know what you guys think in the comments.
Yeah.
Thanks for hanging around for another episode. We'll be back next week with another episode of The Four Lights. Thanks for sticking around. Until next time, we'll talk to you guys later.